Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Well, folks, good Tuesday morning to you. Welcome to the show, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 in Chapmanville. Drive home in a new 2024 Ford Escape with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months, plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill Ford for all the details. And we do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Be sure and join Par-Mar and the stations of WVRC Media Charleston this Saturday, A to Z Outlet in St. Albans for the great gas giveaway starting at 10 a.m. Someone's going to drive away from there with gas in the tank. 500 gallons of free gasoline, courtesy of all of our stations here at WVRC Media Charleston and, of course, Par-Mar stores. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Phone calls to the show is service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Tailor, Virginia Street in downtown Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Of course, Tony the Tailor getting ready for his big summer jam this Saturday night at the Red Carpet Pavilion with guitar legend Gary Hoey on the show, along with special guest the Amos Steel Company. I'm going to spend a little time talking about that concert coming up a little bit later on in the show. All right, so much news, so little time. Yesterday, we spent a great deal of time talking about the Biden decision from over the weekend. A quick plug here, if you missed any of my conversations with State Republican Party Chair Matt Herridge or State Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin about the decision by President Biden not to seek re-election, you can go back and listen to yesterday's show on or any of my shows at WCHSnetwork.com or from your favorite podcast provider or on the social media sites of either WCHS or my social media pages, Dave Allen Radio on Facebook or the Dave Allen Show on X. We're going to get into a lot of that discussion coming up a little bit later on in the show. Also, we're going to be joined a little bit later on by TJ Meadows. TJ is a political pundit, has not been on the show in quite some time, but he's going to make a return appearance. And a gentleman by the name of Michael Mosteller is going to join us. He is a candidate for House of Delegates in District 21, I think it is. And we're going to meet him and talk to him. He's a Democrat running for House. We'll talk to him coming up a little bit later on as well. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Tailor text 304-935-5008. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Let's go to Senator Shelley Moore Capito. Good morning, Senator. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Nice to be on.
Thank you for being here. We'll get right to it, Senator. When the announcement came out Sunday that President Biden was leaving the race, first of all, did it surprise you?
No, it didn't surprise me at all. I mean, the folks that I've talked to over the last several weeks, I said I'll give him 2 weeks. I mean, I think that it was apparent after his performance at the debate that he is not up to the job, up to the campaign. And then you could sort of see the piling on. I said kind of facetiously, the train's coming. It's just a matter of when it's going to hit you. And I think that's what happened. And so I think he made the right decision for himself, for the country, and for everybody else involved. I have other questions around it, but I think that was the right decision.
And speaking of those, you issued a statement yesterday asking for the president to resign and not to finish out his term. I'll let you comment on that.
Yes, I feel my question there is, if the president's determined that he can't go through a campaign, can he really serve for the next 6 months? And the additional question I ask in my statement, and this is one that's been sort of eating at me the last several weeks after the debate performance, who in the White House, including the vice president, the cabinet members, the Democrat leadership, this doesn't happen overnight. This fogginess or apparent cognitive issues that he's having. If you've had it in your family, I've had it in mine, it doesn't happen overnight. Who knew about this? Was there who was covering up this apparent inadequacy of the president to be able to really formulate good decisions? And I want to know the answer to that question, because I think it's significant not just for the folks who are running now, but also for, can this happen again?
Right. It looks like, Senator, that, and with all intents and purposes, that Vice President Kamala Harris will be the nominee. Multiple media outlets are reporting, and I believe that is the case, that she does have enough delegates to put her over. Your thoughts on Kamala Harris?
Well, certainly I know her because we served in the Senate together when she was a senator from California, and I've also seen her, obviously, through her vice presidency. The issue here is the policies. It may be a change of from Joe Biden to Kamala Harris, but it's the same policies and probably more extreme. You talk about she was the border czar. Well, we've now seen 10 million people come across the border illegally under her policies. We have economic policies that's driving up inflation that are the Biden-Harris policies. You also see a weakness on the international stage, a lot of crime in cities. So she owns these policies, and I think that's going to be the basis of the campaign. And certainly, she will be the nominee. I think that's pretty much laid to rest. Yeah. The only question left is who's going to be her vice president. I don't know about that, and I think we'll just leave that to her. But just by the fact that she's not even going to be in the chamber tomorrow when the prime minister from Israel comes for a joint address, I think that shows you the ambivalence and sort of the weakness of the Biden-Harris administration, and I think she's going to continue that. That's what concerns me more than anything. Again,
we're talking to Senator Shelley Moore Capito, and I want to get back to the visit from Mr. Netanyahu momentarily, but I'm going to throw a little sidebar question at you here.
Sure.
Would you like to have seen your friend Senator Joe Manchin possibly in some way get involved in the race? It was toyed around for about a couple hours on Sunday. Yeah. Was it something that you would have liked to have seen, or did you even talk to the senator about that?
I talked to him last week. I didn't talk to him over the weekend. I'm not sure how you can be a nominee of a party that you're no longer in. That was the question I had.
Yeah, there is that.
There's a little snag there, and so I'll leave those questions to him. He always has a way of getting in the limelight, and I think that was another accomplished feat over the weekend.
The big story, of course, last weekend, it's just been weekends are supposed to be a time to relax, Senator.
Right.
We've had the two biggest stories of the year have happened on consecutive weekends. The big story last weekend, of course, was the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Still lots of questions to be answered there, particularly from the Secret Service director who testified yesterday in front of the House Oversight Committee. Your thoughts on her testimony, what you've heard so far?
Well, she should absolutely resign. I was driving up. I visited the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve, and then went over to see New River Health Center on my way up yesterday. And so I listened to a lot of the testimony on the on the car radio as I was coming up. She didn't answer any questions. She took responsibility, but she wouldn't even really say what she's taking responsibility for. If you look at the schematics, how did somebody get that close? We've had Bush visits and Trump visits and Obama visits in our state, and I know what you have to go through to secure these areas. It was totally inept, and I just think that she just refused to answer questions. She needs to go. She's obviously not a good leader, and I think the Secret Service are admirable, great people, and I know so many that work there and do a great job, but when your leadership fails you, that is a time for them to leave.
Well, she says she's not going anywhere. At least that's what I heard from her testimony. I heard that driving this morning.
And remember, Joe Biden was going to be the Democrat nominee. So
well, there is that.
Things can change pretty quick, Dave.
And finally, I want to get to this we kind of touched on this earlier, Senator. With all the chaos over the last 2 weeks, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to deliver a joint address to Congress tomorrow afternoon. You will be in attendance. What do you expect to hear?
Well, he's a world leader of one of our greatest allies, Israel, that was attacked on October the 7th. And I think that we have strongly supported Israel through the years and also through this very difficult time. So I want to hear what he has to say and pay respects to a world leader. I understand, including the vice president, obviously the president as well, will not be in attendance. And I think that's a bit of a snub to somebody who's a close U.S. ally in an area that's a very dangerous place. We still have hostages that are being held by Hamas. We need to get them out. I'm certain he will emphasize that. He will probably also emphasize the longstanding bonds that Israel and the United States have shared, and that love of freedom is what they love as well, and they just want to live in peace and freedom, and they don't want to live next to a terrorist nation that is just waiting to pounce as they did on October the 7th.
I saw, I actually heard this morning, Senator, a comment from AOC that was said some very disparaging things and basically said he's not welcome here.
Well, that's one person's voice. That's a great thing about America. We can all speak up. There's a lot of things I don't agree on with AOC, and I don't know that she has I don't believe that her vision is shared by many in the United States, and certainly not West Virginians. We are very, very strong supporters of Israel throughout every community.
Senator Shelley Moore Capito, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I know you got a tight schedule. I appreciate you being here. We'll talk again soon. Thanks a lot.
All right, Dave. Thanks for what you're doing, all right? Appreciate it.
Senator Shelley Moore Capito. It is 9:18, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by General Hardware of Winfield and of Winfield and Milton, I should say, and General Lumber of Winfield. For all projects big and small, shop locally. Visit General Hardware, WV.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly Hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-5008. So let me knock out some text here. Text says, ask Capito to condemn the vile rhetoric that the January 6 criminals are political prisoners and hostages. Well, she's not going to do that. And ask her to declare that anyone running for political office who believes this is not fit, Capito is a coward, liar, sellout. Text says, excellent job protecting Capito from tough questions. Your contributions to Access journalism are noted. Thank you very much, because, number one, I'm not a journalist. That's number one. And Shelley Moore Capito has been asked several times about January 6th. She's expressed her opinion. There's no reason for me to continue to beat the dead horse. So I'm sorry. But I'm not a journalist, never claimed to be. Text says, Dave, okay, that was from yesterday, sorry. You, Mrs. Capito, blame Biden as being weak, but you support a felon who is only interested in himself, says a texter. Text says, right decision for the country, ? Known he could be beaten by Trump, especially in this state of falling cognitive ability. Now possible have the we want boxes checked for political correct sympathy vote, go Trump. That's what it said. I just read them. Let me see. Text says, Shelley, as with every other Republican, you're voting for a man who has a long-documented relationship with child trafficker and rapist Jeffrey Epstein. Republican values are found in a swampy trash bin, says a texter. Texter says, Shelley is as useless bag of hot air as a senator. Not feeling the Capitol love today. Text says, West Virginians love Israel but don't care for Jews, says a texter. All right. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, you're going to want to know Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, you can train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. We're going to take a break. Michael Mosteller is here. He is a Democratic candidate for House in District 21. We're going to talk to him right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
Hi, I'm David McCormick, owner of Omega Commercial Interiors. Did you know that most office furniture originates in China and Mexico? Omega Commercial Interiors sells products made in America for businesses made in America. If you're in the market for quality office furniture, remember, buy local and call Omega Commercial Interiors in Morgantown and Charleston. We're a proud West Virginia company.
Looking to buy or sell U.S. coins or currency, or need an appraisal on a coin collection? The Coin Man in St. Albans has been established since 2009, and he's the area's expert in currency. Whether you're buying or selling coins and coin accessories, he's got you covered. But that's not all. He also deals in select antiques and glassware. Visit the Coin Man today at 2412 Kanawha Terrace in St. Albans and discover treasures that transcend time. The Coin Man, where every coin tells a story.
Red, white, and vroom! Gear up for incredible savings at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and right now at Thornhill, you can drive home a new 2024 Ford Escape with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months. Plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Shop online anytime at thornhillford.net or visit us on US 119 in Chapmanville. Discover why Thornhill Ford Lincoln is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals and exceptional service on the road to total savings. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
922, the Dave Allen Show and 580 Live is brought to you in part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues like heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and RSV. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles in and beyond West Virginia. It's a valuable resource for all. Discover the latest episodes on WVMetronews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Political pundit TJ Meadows coming up a little bit later on in the show. Want to welcome in now Michael Mosteller, who is a Democratic candidate for House. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Dave.
And it's District 21, is that right?
Yes, it's District 21. It covers most of Hurricane, a lot of Culloden as well. It kind of cuts short right as you get into Tays Valley, Scott Depot area.
Okay. All right. Give us a bio on you. Who are you?
So I was born and raised in Lincoln County, and I have a long background in public service. While I was in Lincoln County, I was a firefighter and EMT for quite a while. I started a family, and I moved to Putnam County. And after I moved there, I saw the political climate change in West Virginia, and I wanted to leave behind a better world for my children, and I just don't believe that our current legislature is doing that. I have a son and I have a daughter. My daughter's just graduated, getting out into the real world, and the opportunities just aren't there. I mean, I feel everyone's pain with the economic opportunities, but the women are losing rights at an alarming rate. One of the main reasons that I got in was the fact that Roe was overturned, and then our legislature passed basically a ban on abortion because any exceptions are so narrow that hardly anyone would qualify for them.
What are some other things that you mentioned, the abortion issue, that you feel aren't being done correctly in the legislature? Give us some examples, some other things in your opinion.
They're neglecting a lot of the services that the state should be providing. In Wayne County, for example, they rely on a lot of the volunteer fire departments. They do have paid staffing EMS, but the state should come up with a fund to fund a lot of the county's fire and EMS programs, at least boost their funding. A lot of them are running on shoestring budgets. I've been there.
I was going to say I was going to jump in there, Michael, and say that's something you probably would know something about.
Absolutely.
Having been emergency services worker.
And I was lucky enough to work at one that actually had a decent funding source. We had a levy. Now, a levy could be one way to go. That's one way for citizens of each county to pay for each of their emergency services. But the state could step in, and they could provide each county, so you don't have one county where you're waiting an hour sometimes for someone to respond, and at the next county, 5-10 minutes. So the funding is something that they desperately need.
Talking to Michael Mosteller, again, who's a Democratic candidate for House in District 21, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza. This month at your favorite Huston's, you can order any regularly priced large 18-inch pizza and get a 2-liter Pepsi at no additional charge. So you mentioned your kids.
Yes.
And you one that just graduated. How old was the other one?
The other one's 14.
Okay, so he or she's probably got their eye on graduation at this point, or at least a car or something like that. That's what most kids of that age are looking forward to.
He does, yeah.
What needs to be done to keep them here? Because I know every parent, I would think, wants their kids to stay here, and we've seen a mass exodus of young people that either they go away to college, they go away to the military, and many of them, once they go, don't come back. How do we get those people to stay here?
Right. So my daughter wants to be a teacher. My son wants to be a diesel mechanic. We've seen a mass exodus of teachers from this state. So what we could do first is to take care of our teachers. I mean, I'm endorsed by the WVEA. One thing that we could do is at least give them the benefits back that were taken from them by when the Republicans first took over the legislature roughly 10 years ago. They launched an all-out war on our educators and support staff. So they took away a lot of the PEIA benefits, made them pay a lot more of it. One thing that really inspired me was 55 Strong, is when the teachers stood up to the legislature and said no more. So I think we should restore their benefits, give them pay raises. There are things that we could do that would boost manufacturing. I mean, one pet idea of mine is in Putnam County, you do see a lot of open fields that are just not in use. We could approach the farmers and say, hey, can we lease your fields and put in large solar installations? That would lead to, we could put in, incentivize a solar panel manufacturing plant here in West Virginia. We could then have the jobs to install those solar panels and then use the gains from those solar panels to help West Virginians who are struggling to pay their electric bill.
Now, you are, as I said, you're running as a Democrat, and you live in Putnam County. I live in Putnam County. It's not always easy to be a Democrat in West Virginia right now, and it's especially not easy to be a Democrat in Putnam County.
Right.
So you got a pretty big task ahead of you, sir.
I do. I've looked to other races and trends across the nation where, again, my main plank is the women's reproductive health, and there have been some blue wins in some deep red areas. No one can tell you how to run your life better than you. The government can't. So why is the government stepping in and telling women what they can and can't do with their bodies? It's none of their damn business. So first thing we need to do is repeal the abortion or the abortion ban that they had passed, and it is an effective ban. And we need to guarantee those rights.
That's going to be difficult, though, in West Virginia. With that legislature. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying it's going to be difficult.
Right. That's why we need to win. I mean, Democrats do need to win. I think we have a chance of gaining seats this year, and it is a process. I mean, I remember when Democrats had the majority.
As do I.
If you weren't if you weren't a Democrat, you just weren't getting in.
Well, you're from Lincoln County, you said originally?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm from Logan County, so we know all about that. When there were no Republicans.
No.
When I was coming up.
No. So we just have to work at it the same way that Republicans did when they took over, and we just need to get the word out there that a lot of people are comparing Democrats in this state to Democrats at the national level, and they are making it all about culture war issue nonsense. That's really not a thing here in West Virginia. So, I mean, I'm a gun owner. I'm pro Second Amendment. I would never ban firearms. So I'm not the type of Democrat that a lot of the further right Republicans would project me to be.
They do kind of get painted together, and I've talked about that on the show.
They do. Yeah, and West Virginia Democrats are definitely a different breed.
Yeah. It's still a bit early, but have you been out knocking doors, shaking hands, meeting people? What have you been doing?
I have. I've had a couple of events where it's ride with the candidate. Well, I like to ride dirt bikes, my son and I, so we'll organize these groups where we'll, if there are any kids, because in Taze Valley and Hurricane, there's really nowhere to ride. So I've got like a Facebook page where kids can go join, and then if they need somebody to haul them out to the trails, or if they just want to join, if their parents want to take them, we'll ride with the candidate. I've done some outreach over the phone, and I'm getting ready to have a campaign kickoff party coming up on. It's going to be on August the 3rd at 5 p.m. at Hurricane Park. Mm-hmm. That's another favorite place of mine. But we're going to have a campaign
You're talking
kickoff
about the
party.
City Park in Hurricane,
yeah,
right?
the Hurricane City Park, the Red Barn.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a kickoff party there, and we're going to have some food. We're going to raise some money. That has some special meaning to me too, because I am. Have you heard of the West Virginia Interscholastic Cycling League?
I have not. Tell me about it.
So it's getting more kids on bikes, and the league has doubled in size every year. I think last year it was up to 420 student athletes and just as many coaches, and so. Meeks Mountain Trail Alliance, they have built an amazing trail system right behind that Red Barn at Hurricane Park. Yeah. I'm a coach on that team. My son races, and so, like I said, that just has a special place for me. That's why I wanted to have my campaign.
They've done a great job with that. I mean, they really have.
They really have. I mean, I'm friends with several of the people on the build team. They've done an excellent job.
Where can people learn more about your campaign? I know you said something about your little meet and greet that you're doing, but online, you got a website, you got social media. Where can people learn more about Michael Mosteller?
I don't have an official website. I do have social media, so they can search me up on Facebook. I've got Facebook and Twitter. My last name's Mosteller. I know, a little difficult, but
it's not just like it looks.
yeah, Michael Mosteller for House of Delegates.
Because you have opposition, obviously,
yes.
in the general election. If it comes down to it, I'm sure that there will be some candidate meet and greets and things of that nature. That's something that you would be up for?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a plan. I have some volunteers. We're going to go knock on a lot of doors this year.
But you'd be open to doing like a debate or a candidate forum or something like that?
Yes, absolutely. I've actually reached out to Jared. He seems like a pretty good guy, and I told him, look, I'm not interested in any type of negative attacks, things like that. I said, I think you seem like a pretty good guy. I wish you all the luck. And he said, great. I don't like negative ads either, so I think it'll be great. I'd like to do that.
Jared's a good guy, and I think that you guys could probably sit together and have a forum and it not turn ugly. I mean, again, we're in July, so I don't want to make any promises, but I'm hoping that it turns out that way to be a good, clean campaign between two obviously pretty good guys.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. I always do this to all my candidates, Michael. I do a thing called the Final 30, where I give you 30 seconds, not actually timed, and I ask you, uninterrupted by me, why should someone vote for Michael Mosteller for House in District 21?
Right.
Go ahead.
So what we've been seeing is parties ruling from the top down. They send the ideas down, and then that's what they feed out to the public. I'm going to change that up. I want to represent rather than rule. I want to restore the power of the legislature to the people, starting with Putnam County District 21. I'm a progressive. I want to bring jobs back to West Virginia. I want to get a lot of the money out of politics. I want to guarantee women's reproductive freedoms. I just want to make this a better state, the state that I grew up in West Virginia, where there's opportunity, where there's jobs, and where you don't have to live with the fear of, say, being attacked or being forced to carry, say, a demised fetus and possibly die from that before they can remove it from you. Mountaineers are always free, Montani semper liberi, and I just feel like some mountaineers are free now.
Okay, well said. We'll have you on the show again as we get closer to the election. Best of luck to your campaign, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dave.
Michael Mosteller, again, he is a Democratic candidate for House in District 21. Hang out with me one second here. Special Olympics embodies the true spirit of sportsmanship. It's not merely about winning medals. It's about being part of a team, practicing and competing together. The joy and fulfillment derived from these experiences are immeasurable as athletes find their confidence and self-worth through the shared pursuit of victory. West Virginia, enriched in collaboration with Huntington, invites you to witness the transformative power of Special Olympics. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. TJ Meadows, political pundit, I don't really know what to call him, but anyway, good friend of mine. He's been on this show and others in the past. He's making a return. We're going to talk to TJ Meadows right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Summer is here, and if you're looking to replace that old worn-out car with a reliable and stylish ride without breaking the bank, then you need to get over to Walker Chevrolet in Nitro. Walker Chevrolet is stocked right now with inventory, both new and used, and they have the car, truck, or SUV that you've been looking for. And you know that you're going to get the best deal possible at Walker because Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games here, just honest, fair deals. And if you have a car that you want to get rid of, don't forget, Walker Chevrolet is still buying cars too. Yeah, that's right. All makes and models are welcome at Walker, and they're going to give you top dollar for it, even if you plan to buy somewhere else. This summer, the car and the deal that you've been waiting for is waiting for you right now at Walker Chevrolet, in the shadow of the Interstate Bridge, just off the Nitro exit of I-64. Walker Chevrolet, making friends one deal at a time.
Pepperoni Grill is back as this week's 50-50 Friday. Their delicious cauliflower crust pizza is available in small and large. It keeps your carb count low, but the taste is through the roof. Everything on Pepperoni Grill's menu is fresh and flavorful. From their big pepperoni rolls to their panini sandwiches, crisp salads, meaty wings, and pasta dishes. Order online at pepperonigrills.com. Friday at 9 a.m., go to WCHSnetwork.com and click the 50-50 Friday button to get 50% off gift certificates for Pepperoni Grill, courtesy of the WCHS family of networks.
I'm Rocky Moselle with StarRegistry.com. Since we were children, we've been told to reach for the stars. It was great advice. Now it's a great gift. Name a star after someone. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit StarRegistry.com, we will name a star after someone very special to you and send an incredible personalized gift. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit StarRegistry.com for the hottest gift.
22 minutes away from 10. Ryan Nicholson is our producer today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan. If you're injured, hire Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Text says, Dave, you said you wouldn't vote for Biden or Trump. Does this mean you'll vote for Kamala? No. Simple answer. Text says, the evangelicals' devotion to Israel is only because Israel is part of the rapture in evangelism. Evangelism is a religion looking forward to and trying to bring on the end of mankind, says a texter. Texter says, here in Putnam County, we strongly support our conservative candidate, Jared Kennedy, in House District 21. Jared represents the community well. Jared is fighting to save the lives of babies, not to kill them, says a texter. Text says, Senator Capito has great judgment. She knows that West Virginians want their senators to fully support the only presidential candidate that partied with notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein for at least 15 years. The disgraced Trump says it was a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun to be with and liked beautiful women, many of them on the younger side. And we all know Dave won't ask Capito or any Republican about that. Access journalism lives. Dave's not a journalist. Maybe that's why. Text says, Mosteller is stuck in old-school Lincoln County Democrat political ways. Didn't work then, won't work now. He's going to get thumped. Sorry, Mike. Wrong area to bring that mindset to. Text says, the Putnam County Republican machine is well-funded, well-oiled, and run by very experienced, very smart people. We will be using it to protect our conservative seats, says a texter. Texter says, this guy said culture war issues are not a thing in West Virginia, yet he admitted his campaign is centered around a culture war issue, says a texter. Texter says abortion is not reproductive freedom. Several different forms of birth control know the difference. Text says, Dave, question for Senator Capito. With Biden, and she already answered this, that's why I'm reading it now. With Biden in Delaware and Kamala greeting college athletes at the White House, who was there to officially greet Prime Minister Netanyahu? I did not see any officials on the video. Well, I think the big doings, as they say, has actually not happened yet, and that's what Senator Capito was referring to. Texas says, oh, what a crock. As a 51-year-old woman, I want to notify your guests we have not lost any rights at all. Don't know how many times this needs to be repeated, not acknowledging the fact, either ignorance or intentional. Reversing Roe did not outlaw the right to kill a separate unborn human being. It reverted that evil practice down to the state level. You can still cross a border and find a doctor that will gladly kill your baby, even though it was the decision of the mom to lie down, says a texter. Texter says, for TJ, well, I'll just save that till TJ's here, because TJ Meadows is here now. TJ, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Dave, good morning, man. Your text line is hotter than a $2 pistol, man.
I've got TJ Meadows text waiting on me. What does that tell you?
That's kind of scary, actually.
Your public is demanding you.
Yeah.
All right. So let me catch the folks up that may be new. TJ Meadows has been on sub for Hoppy several times over the years, and some work, family commitments, possible jail time kept him. No, I'm kidding about that part. Kept him away, but he's going to be back with me just from time to time whenever we can hopefully fit him in. How have you been, man?
Well, I beat the jail rep. I'm happy to report that.
That was a joke, by the way, but go ahead.
I'm definitely doing better than Director Cheadle this morning. I'll tell you that. Man, what a grilling yesterday.
Yeah, that was intense, and it still continued. I think it continued into the overnight hours after she left. I think they were still going after. It's interesting when when putting the show together, I struggled with what to call you because I have Greg Thomas and Rob Cornelius on. I call them Republican strategists. I have Mike Plant on, call him a Democratic strategist. You and I are a lot alike. I'm a host. So what should I call you? What
That's
are
a good
you?
Question. I think, I'm just a guy that likes politics and, likes the X's and O's of politics. I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican, not a Democrat. I've supported both parties, different candidates. When I subbed for Hoppy, I used to say I'm all about the constituency of one, and that's TJ Meadows. And I think that's the way the founders wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I take a look at an issue, I decide what works for me and my family, and, that's where I advocate for, and that's where I go.
TJ, I want to split this past weekend up into two parts. The early part of the weekend, Democrats making a lot of noise, hoping President Biden would drop out of the race. There were the pass-the-torch rallies held by Democrats. Even Senator Joe Manchin got into the act early on Sunday morning, going on and on, saying it was time for Biden to withdraw. Fast forward to midday Sunday, when word comes out that President Biden will, in fact, drop out and is pledging his support to Vice President Kamala Harris. Word later Sunday that Senator Manchin, now independent Joe Manchin, was considering switching back to Democrat to run for president. That was put to rest yesterday on several platforms, most notably on the only one that really counts, and that's with Hoppy Kercheval on the show yesterday. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that many Republicans are stepping up now, asking for Biden to step down, not to wait until the next president takes office in next January. And I had Senator Capito on earlier in the show talking about that, saying that if he's not fit to run for re-election, he's not fit to continue to lead the nation. So seems like most of the Dems are lining up behind Kamala Harris. That's what all of the delegates are saying at this point. It looks like a lot to unpack. So take this weekend and break it all down, and you got 30 seconds. I'm kidding.
I think it was probably one of the most fascinating political weekends that I can remember, quite frankly. You talked about Joe Manchin. You had a guy that was on the Sunday shows calling for Biden to step aside. He had toyed with that earlier, finally decided to pull the trigger on it. And to your point, within a couple of hours, he's floating the idea. I won't say he floated it, but the idea of him being the presidential nominee is floating around. You got to follow the money. And I think that's what Joe did with that. I mean, he saw by Sunday evening, I think, how quickly Act Blue and others on behalf of Kamala Harris were able to raise money. I mean, I think they had their single best day, something like $50 million, and now in like a 48-hour period, I may be a little off with that math, she's earned something like or funded something like $100 million, right? So the donors are lining up behind someone that they think can actually beat Trump. You don't have time, quite frankly, in my opinion, to go through this process again, to see if it's Harris and put, the thumb up in the air and see which way this is the wind blowing. You got to get somebody who can start now. And she has the delegate count. That broke last night. Yeah. It's clear. If I were a Republican, I would do exactly what Republicans are doing. Politics, elections are won on politics. They're not won on policy. And we can debate whether or not that's where we want to be in this country. I tend to think we ought to be on policy. However, elections are won on politics. And being able to say that, hey, look what the Democrats are doing. They're not following their own processes. They're not having an open convention, da-da-da-da-da. That is akin to the narrative that the election was stolen. The Democrats stole the election. And that's how you keep that narrative alive. That's how you start to position that. They're not following their own rules. They're cheating. They lied once. Now they're cheating at their own game, right? I would have that in my playbook. I think the other part of that is this call for President Biden to step down. Right now it's kind of nebulous, right? You haven't heard directly from Joe Biden. That's a problem.
Well, he's headed back out on the campaign trail today, I think.
He is, but you haven't heard from him yet.
Right.
And the thing about that is, did he step down because he saw a poll and he finally saw enough polls and he had enough data to say, I can't beat Trump? Or did he step down because he's not able to do the job? And if you're a Republican, you want to keep that narrative alive simply because if you call for his resignation, it's a more direct link to be able to hang on Harris and others. Hey, they lied. They propped this guy up, right? This is why he's good, because he's not cognitively capable to take on the job, not because he can't beat Trump. And, you want to keep that going. And look, they were prepared for this. Politico had a memo that they leaked last night, I think that was dated early May from the Trump campaign. They knew this was coming. And Senator Capito, I heard her on your show, she wasn't surprised. Neither was the Trump campaign. These narratives have been thought through. And again, elections are won on politics. They're not won on policy. And that's what we're going to continue to hear, I think, out of the Trump campaign. And look, and if I were running Donald Trump's campaign, I'd be doing the exact same thing.
Talking to TJ Meadows, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Brightway Insurance, the Mays agency. They now offer small business insurance to the 4 major carriers, the Hartford, Travelers, Progressive, and Next. Call or stop by and see John and Sherry Mays today. 3860 Tays Valley Road, Suite 1 in Hurricane, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymays.com. What about Joe Manchin in all this, TJ? There was for about a 20-minute time span that, hey, all my alerts were going off saying he's considering it. He hit the shows Sunday morning asking for the president to step aside. Then that happened, and then there was all this talk late Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. He goes on TV yesterday saying absolutely not running. He was on Hoppy with yesterday. Where are you on Joe Manchin in all this? And what about his call for more moderation?
I think sometimes people just can't help themselves, and that's kind of Senator Manchin, in my opinion. And look, I think that's a good thing because people like that tend to ask questions that others won't. And I think Joe Manchin has done that. He's asked a lot of questions that others won't. It's uncomfortable. It's different. But again, I think he saw the money, and he saw he wasn't going to be able to, again, fundraise what he needed in time to be able to be competitive against Harris. Delegates were lining up against her, and he saw the writing on the wall. The call for moderation is interesting, in my opinion, because I think we could all agree that Joe Manchin's not done. He wants something next. What's going to be his next? And, if he was angling for something in terms, and this could be a bit hyperbolic, a bit out there, far-fetched, if he was angling for something in terms of Secretary of Energy, a cabinet-level position, sub-cabinet, something to keep him viable and in the hunt, then that's probably not the way to do it, calling for more moderation against Harris. So that's probably not his future. I think he has a chance now to be a semi-kingmaker, right? Mm-hmm. And he has a chance to be able to steer that 38%, whatever it is now, of double haters. Those are people that may entertain something that Manchin has to say and take it into consideration. And that's really what this is going to boil down to. I mean, George Clooney came out this morning. He's back in the fold. He's endorsed Harris.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? So the Democratic Party has shored up their base, or will soon shore up their base. You've got the Republican base that is very solid. It comes down to the double haters. Who can convince the Dave Allens of the world, right, and the TJ Meadows of the world, the double haters, the independents, which way to go? And that's what it's going to come down to. And it's going to have to be more policy than politics to get those people, in my opinion.
TJ, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I gotta leave it there, but a text did say for TJ, I really miss hearing you on Talkline. So there you go.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. That made my day.
How did you manage to text that and talk at the same time, man? You're good. You're good.
David.
All right. TJ, we'll talk again soon, man. Thanks a lot.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
10 minutes away from 10. The always entertaining TJ Meadows. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Birds back at home tonight at Gilmore Ballpark to take on Lexington. $2 Tuesday, presented by Embassy Suites and Breeze Airways. $2 specials throughout the ballpark for tickets, promotions, schedules, Dirty Birds gear, and more. Visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Bickley Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text is 304 935-5008. All right, speaking of Tony the Taylor, our good friend, sponsor of the show's text line, he's having a big party this Saturday night at the Red Carpet Pavilion, bringing in guitar legend, slide guitar genius Gary Hoey. And Gary Hoey is fantastic. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Showtime is Saturday, 7 o'clock at the Red Carpet Pavilion on Elizabeth Street in Charleston. Here's what I got for you. I got 2 VIP tickets, all access, and 2 meet and greet passes. They go together. 2 tickets, 2 meet and greets with Gary Hoey, and you can pick those up at the Will Call window Saturday night at the Carpet. I will give those to caller number 3 right now, 304-345-5858, 304-345-5858. Caller number 3 right now, I'm going to set you up with 2 VIP tickets to the show and 2 passes for the exclusive meet and greet with Gary Hoey Saturday night at the Red Carpet Pavilion. And, of course, it's all sponsored by Tony the Taylor. Looking for caller 3 right now. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. And now that the warm weather months are here, you know where you need to be, your local Parmar store. Heading to the lake, the ball field, or your favorite picnic site, or just working around your place, Parmar has everything you'll need, from gas to grocery, snacks, and much, much more. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Stop what you're doing and listen to this. Your God-given freedoms are up for the taking. And those doing the taking are the same people who've sworn to defend your freedom. They think they can control the media, hide the truth, and force their delusions onto your family. You know what they can't take away? Self-reliance, peace of mind. Got water filtration? You should. A charged solar generator? You better. Emergency food on your shelf? Get it now from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the most trusted name in survival, and for damn good reason, too. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now and save $200 on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. It delivers over 2,000 calories per day, plus sealed inside practically unpierceable packaging. It lasts up to 25 years. Oh, and did I mention it's delicious? Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save $200 per kit. Includes fast and free shipping. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
6 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. Pinnacle offers a 4-phase assessment for your properties: inspection, sampling, and analysis, comprehensive reporting and management planning. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can't hurt you. We do have a winner on our Gary Hoey tickets, not only tickets, but VIP meet and greet and the whole deal, and it is John Weberg, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. John, congratulations. You won yourself a couple of free tickets and VIPs to see Gary Hoey, guitar legend, at the Red Carpet Pavilion Saturday night, sponsored by Tony the Tailor. So, John, enjoy the show. Text says, Dave, first, Israel overwhelmingly supports abortion, and is Capito going to ask Trump to step aside as he is a convicted felon and sex abuser? Text says, sex abuser is fit for office? ? Listeners, ask Senator Capito about this when you see her, says a texter. Texter says, Manchin is the next president of WVU. That's been thrown around some in the past, and Hoppy, I know, talked about it. I've talked about it on the show. I don't see that happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see that happening. Text says, Biden stepped down because the money was going away. As soon as we realize the entirety of our country runs on money, the sooner we may be able to regulate those with more money having more influence on the government than those with less money. Text says, I've been listening to Dave, that's me, since his start on 580. I know that Dave hides behind being a talk show host, so he doesn't have to ask the tough questions. Dave wants his politician guest to return to the show. That's why we get the beer league softball questions from him. Dave asking Republican politicians how they support a child molester is out of his lane, says a texter. Texter says, Manchin is a political maroon. A maroon. Haven't heard that since like the Warner Brothers cartoon days. He's an abandoner to the Democrats and a Democrat to the Republicans. Text says, Dave, great to hear TJ back on the program. He's right. President Trump's policies will win the election for the American people. Got the TV on here in the studio, and I didn't get the numbers because it's not like my TV at home that I can rewind it when Grandpa doesn't see it properly. But there was a poll that recently came out from The Hill that had Donald Trump with a pretty substantial lead over Kamala Harris in a proposed matchup. Just saying. On tomorrow's show, we're going to be joined by Andy Shea of the Dirty Birds. Also, Kanawha County Commissioner Ben Salango is going to be talking Christmas. I mean, serious. It's July. I know that, but they've got a reason for coming on the show tomorrow, so we're going to talk about that. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Jute. For the best in security systems for both your home or business, talk to Jute of Tays Valley. Visit protectedbyjute.com. Text says... Dave, Colonel Christopher Parrish, Commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police, will testify about the attempted assassination of President Trump during a House Homeland Security Committee meeting starting at 10 a.m. You can watch it on C-SPAN 2, Optimum Channel 27, or stream free online, says a texter. Hoppy Kirchhoff coming up with Talkline at 10:06. First up, you heard him on my show yesterday. Now he's back with Hoppy, State Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin. Since yesterday's show, though there has been some news that negated getting him back on there, that called for getting, I should say, Mr. Pushkin back on the show. All of the West Virginia delegates to next month's Democratic Convention in Chicago have now pledged to support, no surprise, Vice President Kamala Harris. Hoppy and Pushkin will get into that. Plus, West Virginia Attorney General and Republican nominee for Governor Patrick Morrisey wants Vice President Harris to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Biden, as Shelley Moore Capito talked about earlier in the show. So they're going to get into that. And we talked about this, TJ and I did, along with Senator Capito, the all-out roasting that Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle took on Capitol Hill yesterday. It was brutal, to say the least. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News Radio, was there, and he will report to Hoppy about that. Jared Halpern for Fox News will be following Kamala Harris out on the campaign trail. He's on today's show, plus Matt Lewis from the Daily Beast, and my good friend and frequent lunch partner, Tom Sussman of WMOV Radio in Ravenswood and TSG Consulting, will wax poetically as only Mr. Sussman can about the world of politics. Talk line with Hobby coming up at 10:06 from the Encova Insurance Studios in the Dale Miller Building in Morgantown. Text says, Biden should not resign the presidency. Why should we give Kamala Harris the power of incumbency when she hasn't earned it? A bad strategy, says a texter. Quickly, a news story here. A lot of excitement on I-64 yesterday evening, more than normal. Aaron Parker, story posted WVMetroNews.com. 2 people taken into custody. It started on 35 and eventually ended up on 64. Cops from Jackson and Gallia counties in Ohio, plus deputies from Kanawha, Putnam, and Mason counties, all involved, ended up shutting down the interstate near the split in Charleston. 2 people taken into custody. No idea at this time why there was a smoking the bandit type pursuit that stretched 75 miles. And Aaron Parker with the story posted WVMetroNews.com. All right, got to go. My producer was Ryan Nicholson. Thank you so much. Hoppy coming up at 10:06 with Talkline. First guest, he's in the on-deck circle staring at me through the glass right now, and that is House member and DNC chairman of West Virginia, Mike Pushkin. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS-AM, W243DRFM Charleston, and W283AQ Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here, too.